I bet you didn't know just how much power the Supreme Court is about to wield over America's future. Welcome back to Universal Insight. Please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. The Supreme Court is about to decide a case that could reshape the balance of power in American government. At the heart of the matter is whether President Trump's sweeping tariffs, enacted under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, are constitutional, or if they overstep the boundaries set by the founders. Historically, the Constitution gave Congress the exclusive power to levy tariffs and regulate commerce. This separation of powers was designed to prevent any one branch from wielding too much control over the nation's economic fate. But Trump's use of IEPA, a law originally intended for sanctioning foreign threats during emergencies, redefined it as a tool for broad economic protectionism, bypassing Congress and raising questions about executive overreach. The result? U.S. tariffs soared from 2% to over 17%, a dramatic shift with echoes of past trade wars and the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of the 1930s, which deepened the Great Depression. Businesses and consumers now face higher costs and global uncertainty, reminiscent of earlier eras when unchecked executive power led to economic turmoil. As the court prepares to rule, the constitutional stakes couldn't be higher. Will the president retain this expanded authority, or will the court reaffirm Congress's historic role in economic policy? A decision for the administration could set a precedent, allowing future presidents to impose sweeping economic measures with little oversight, fundamentally altering the separation of powers. A decision against could mean massive refunds, a rollback of recent tariffs, and a restoration of congressional authority, potentially reshaping U.S. trade policy for decades to come. This is a defining moment for American governance, echoing constitutional debates of the past and setting the stage for how the nation will confront future crises and global challenges. Legal challenges quickly followed Trump's tariffs. In May 2025, the Court of International Trade ruled the IEPA tariffs illegal, saying the law was never meant for sweeping economic measures. The Federal Circuit affirmed, emphasizing that only Congress can tax and regulate commerce, and any delegation to the president must be narrow. Yet, the tariffs remain in effect, as the Supreme Court appeal put lower court rulings on hold, forcing businesses to pay billions in contested duties. These cases target only IEPA-based tariffs, not those under other statutes like Section 232 or 301. So much of the protectionist framework would remain even if the court strikes down the IEPA tariffs. The outcome will determine not just legal precedent, but the financial fate of importers and consumers nationwide. The Supreme Court's decision will shape the next era of American trade. The ongoing legal limbo has left businesses and markets paralyzed, unable to plan as they await the court's decision. Tariffs have acted as a hidden tax, raising prices for everything from electronics to raw materials, fueling inflation and eroding consumer power. If the court strikes down the tariffs, the Treasury faces the daunting task of refunding billions. Relief for businesses, but a blow to the federal budget. Removing tariffs could boost GDP and ease inflation, but would also disrupt government revenue and trade policy. If upheld, high tariffs become the new normal, forcing companies to rethink supply chains and accelerating a shift away from free trade. The decision will either restore stability or lock in a new era of economic friction. The stakes for American competitiveness and global integration have never been higher. The Supreme Court faces a stark choice: reign in executive power or cement it for generations. Striking down the tariffs would reaffirm Congress's authority but trigger economic chaos, billions in refunds, a scramble to rewrite trade policy, and fiscal headaches. Upholding the tariffs would legitimize a sweeping new use of IEPA, letting future presidents impose taxes by declaring emergencies. This could turn IEPA into a catch-all tool for economic policy, tempting future leaders to bypass Congress on everything from carbon taxes to digital levies. The court's conservative majority must weigh constitutional principle against the reality of a policy already in motion. Their decision will define the limits of presidential power and the future of American trade law. Will they pull the lever to stop executive overreach or let the train run, risking a dangerous precedent? The legacy of this court and the balance of power in Washington hangs in the balance. America's tariff drama has shaken the global trading system, undermining decades of trust in U.S. leadership and predictable trade rules. Allies and rivals alike have scrambled to adapt, as the U.S. shift toward protectionism signals a new era of uncertainty. Even if the court strikes down the tariffs, the political appetite for free trade in America has faded, forcing other nations to rethink their strategies. The use of IEEPA as a protectionist tool sets a dangerous precedent, encouraging other countries to invoke emergencies for their own trade barriers. The world risks sliding into fragmented, power-driven trade blocs, with less reliance on international law. The court's ruling will send a message. Is America still committed to rules-based trade, or is it embracing unpredictability? The answer will shape global alliances and economic strategies for years to come. No matter the outcome, the IEEPA battle has changed U.S. trade policy and the debate over executive power forever. If the tariffs fall, Congress must act, either to reclaim its authority or to grant the president new powers, while businesses rush to claim refunds and Washington faces tough budget choices. If the president's power is upheld, future leaders will wield unprecedented authority to reshape economic policy by decree, sidelining Congress. This could mean more volatility and unpredictability for businesses and investors, as trade and tax policy shift with each administration. The Supreme Court's decision won't end the debate over America's economic future. It will set the stage for the next chapter. The questions of globalization, domestic industry, and executive limits will keep shaping U.S. politics and its place in the world. One chapter closes, but the struggle over trade and power is just beginning. The economic consequences of the Supreme Court's decision on Trump's tariffs are far-reaching. This chapter delves into the immediate and long-term impacts on various sectors, from manufacturing to agriculture, and how businesses are adapting to the new trade landscape. In the short term, industries reliant on imported materials may face disruptions and increased costs. Companies must navigate a maze of new regulations and potential retaliatory tariffs from affected countries. The agriculture sector, already strained by previous trade wars, could see further instability, affecting both farmers and consumers. Long-term effects are equally significant. The ruling may prompt businesses to rethink supply chains, prioritize domestic production, or seek new international partners. Innovation and adaptability will be key, as companies strive to remain competitive in a shifting economic environment. Ultimately, the Supreme Court's decision marks a pivotal moment in U.S. trade policy, with ramifications that will ripple through the economy for years to come. As businesses and policymakers grapple with this new reality, the true extent of the economic fallout will gradually unfold. The world is watching. As the dust settles on the Supreme Court's landmark decision, global powers are recalibrating their strategies. China, ever the economic rival, signals a renewed push to strengthen regional alliances and reduce dependence on U.S. markets. The European Union, wary of instability, begins negotiating fresh trade agreements to buffer its industries from future shocks. Emerging markets seize the moment, seeking to attract investment and fill gaps left by disrupted supply chains. Around the globe, policymakers, businesses, and investors are making swift moves, adjusting tariffs, forging new partnerships, and reimagining the future of trade. The Supreme Court's ruling has not just transformed America's economic landscape, it has set off a chain reaction, reshaping global commerce in ways that will define this era.